This telecast is supported by Ghana MDG's coalition campaign, hosted by the Christian Council and Metropolitan Television. Settlements in peril, the price for human negligence. Never before has human settlements been threatened. Effects of climate change, such as landslides and rising waters, are exposing the negligence of mankind in creating the best of settlements that can't stand the test of time, especially in developing countries like Ghana. In exploring this negligence, I first take a look at some poor settlements that have developed in the city center of Accra, Ghana's capital. The origin of the word slum is thought to have come from the Irish phrase slome, meaning a bleak or destitute place. The United Nations agency that deals with housing, UN Habitat, defined slum as a rundown area of a city characterized by substandard housing and squalor and lacking in tenure security. According to the United Nations, the percentage of urban dwellers living in slums decreased from 47% to 37% in the developing world between 1990 and 2005. However, due to rising population and the rise especially in urban populations, the number of slum dwellers is rising, as the agency reiterated at the 2010 World Urban Forum that 1 billion people worldwide live in slums, and the figure will likely grow to 2 billion by 2030. The term has come to include the vast informal settlements found in cities in the developing world. Many shack dwellers vigorously oppose the description of their communities as slums, arguing that this results in them being subject to threats of evictions. Although their characteristics vary between geographic regions, slums are usually inhabited by the very poor or socially disadvantaged. Slum buildings vary from simple shacks to permanent and well-maintained structures. Most slums lack clean water, electricity, sanitation, and other basic services. Here in Ghana, however, distasteful as it may sound, several communities pass to be described as slums, while many more keep spiraling. Some of such communities that we have left to be permanent slum zones in Accra, for instance, include Nima, Newtown, Old Fadama, part of Osu, Teshi, Nungwa, La, Ashaman, Jamestown, Bukom, Choko, and most of the communities along the beachfront.
There is enormous urban pressure. The urban migration at this stage is very fast in Ghana. People are attracted to come into services, into the service industry, the informal sector, but also they come to towns because they have access to better health and education for their kids. So I would say this is one of the key challenges confronting Ghana at this stage. There is a social transformation. People are moving.
Other non-permanent slums continue to spring up even in city center Accra, with the famous Sodom and Gomorrah as an example in sight. Jamestown, Bukom and Choko are one of Accra's oldest suburbs. Located along the front of the Mediterranean Sea, the communities used to inhabit the early colonialists, most of whom settled along the shores of the sea, where they had put up castles and plush buildings for different purposes. About 53 years since the nation's independence, the area that used to be called British Accra, well organized with beautiful enviable castles, is now one of the most scattered settlements, bearing all the full characteristics of what can genuinely be described as slums. Here there are no demarcations in between buildings. Almost all buildings by different households are closely linked to one another, while sections of buildings are broken down, posing serious dangers to the inhabitants who live in them, especially the vulnerable groups like children, the aged, and women, particularly those in special conditions like pregnancy. Godwin Jani Kote, popularly called Aloe, is a renowned boxing trainer who continues to train world-class boxing champions like Joseph Agbeko and Joshua Clote, but has lived in this community in all his life.
I was born and bred in this slums in 1959. Almost even all the boxing champions have come from this place. What are the governments doing to populate this country? Because we need to develop our country. And if you kind of see that more than 50 years after independence, we have this right in the heart of the city. It's a beautiful sight.
Aloe is one of the success stories of Gamashi, just like some of his trainees and other renowned Ghanaians who are now recognized all over the world. But for its rundown nature, this community could be boasting of more human resources who could have and will be contributing to national development than it is recounting today.
Jamestown has produced and continued to produce men and women of very high distinction.
As the years go by, the population is increasing and people are not moving out. Nothing is being changed. You see how dilapidated these buildings are.
Alloway tells me since living in these slums, he has seen several young lives wasted because of the scattered and disorganized nature of the settlements here.
People are just open to maybe doing that, drinking, maybe smoking, all kinds of things. But yes, people still do manage. But living in this and day in and day out, the population is growing. So it is best. So we need to do something for.
He highlights that because of the congested nature of the rooms in these communities, people, including young ones, sleep outside their rooms, and even those who sleep in their rooms sometimes don't shut their doors at night, leaving them very vulnerable to all forms of abuses and attacks.
When it comes to maybe drug peddling and that kind of thing, we've got a lot of places around this area. It's because there are so many alleyways. So many alleyways. You can even pass, when you want to go to Jamestown, you can just take this route and be passing through the alleys down to Jamestown without even coming on the street. So there are a lot of places to hide, which is also not good for a growing society. So it opens us for so many social vices. That's the main reason why maybe you don't see children having children. The young people are open to maybe so many things. They have early sex and have early childbirth. This is bad. It's also dragging the society down.
Rape cases around Jamestown is because of the community where they live.
What we're observing now is also enormous crime, prostitution, and the like. And this has a lot to do with the conditions in which people live.
Again, because of the communal nature of the settlement, even cases of sexual abuses that happen here are not reported. The young ones have to spend long hours outside home while having fun on the streets and bars, contrary to an opposite situation where they will be studying and preparing for school's activities the next day. Teenage pregnancy in these communities is a fright, to say the least. Alloway counts his blessings for being able to upgrade his own home, well painted with all the needed facilities, and can now play with his daughter happily because she has grown and matured to a responsible lady and living in a plush suburb with a legally married husband, a situation that is so rare among young ladies who grow up in this community, he says.